Hey everyone, this is the second video for the week of April 13th to the 17th. We're still talking about food webs, but this time we're talking about how we can describe the flow of energy within a food web, including the roles of the sun, producers, consumers, and decomposers. So a food chain is just the direct path of food energy beginning with the sun that flows from one organism to another. So in this food chain, we see that the sun is giving energy to the plants, which give energy to the cricket, which gives energy to the robin, which gives energy to the hawk. All of the producers and consumers give energy to the decomposers. The sun does not give energy to the decomposers because the sun is not an organism. It only gives energy to our producers, to the plants. A food web is just an interconnected set of food chains. So it's multiple food chains put together. So this time there are multiple pathways that the energy might flow through. So there are two producers. There are the leaves and the grass. They give energy to multiple different consumers, which then give energy to other consumers, and so on. And then when we talk about the flow of energy, so in a food chain or food web, the flow or transfer of energy is shown using arrows. Remember, when we see the arrows, we need to think of the words gives energy to. The arrows do not point to what each organism eats, but instead it points to what eats it, or what it is giving its energy to. So now I'm going to show you some of the different ways that we analyze food webs that we all did in class before. So we're just going to go through some of those examples, and then you can get started with your work for the week. So when we look at this food web, what is wrong with it? What is wrong is that the arrows are backwards. So the arrows should show the flow of energy. The arrows should not show what eats what, but rather what each organism is giving energy to. So if this food web were to be read the way we normally read a food web, that would be saying that this cougar or wolf here is giving energy to the deer, which we know is not true because those arrows need to be flipped around. The deer gives energy to the cougar. So what is the role of each organism in the food chain below? So when we're talking about the roles of organisms in a food chain or food web, we are talking about whether it is a producer, consumer, or a decomposer. So what are the roles of each of these in the food chain? So there are no arrows pointing to the algae. So it is a producer because it gets its energy from the sun to make its own food. The shrimp, Arctic cod, ring seals, and polar bears all have an arrow pointing to them from another organism. So they are all consumers because they get their energy by eating other organisms. But again, when we talk about role, we're talking about whether it's a producer, consumer, or decomposer. So in this food web, energy is transferred directly between. So when we talk about energy being directly transferred, that means we're talking about it going from one organism to the very next. So there are some answer choices here. So is it A, conifer seeds and red crossbills, B, conifer leaves and northern goshawks, C, blue grouse and wolves, D, elk and sharp-shinned hawks? The answer is A, conifer seeds and red crossbills. The conifer seeds give energy directly to the red crossbills because the red crossbills eat the conifer seeds. So there is an arrow directly pointing from one to the next. B, conifer leaves and northern goshawks. There is not an arrow pointing directly from conifer leaves to the northern goshawks. They first have to give their energy to the blue grouse before their energy goes to the northern goshawks. For C, blue grouse and wolves is the same thing. There's no arrow pointing from blue grouse directly to wolves. The blue grouse have to give their energy to the northern goshawks before their energy is given to the wolves. And then for D, elk and sharp-shinned hawks, there's no arrows connecting elk and sharp-shinned hawks at all. So that is just an incorrect answer choice. So which of the food chains below show us one way the energy flows in the Big Bend ecosystem? So when we look at creating food chains from a table of food sources, we have to be careful that our arrows show the flow of energy. So there are a couple different food chains to look at. So there's F, juniper berries, give energy to ornate box turtles, which give energy to roadrunners, which give energy to rock squirrels. So looking at that, juniper berries give energy to ornate box turtles. Ornate box turtles eat insects, dead animals, and cacti. They do not eat juniper berries, so F is incorrect. G, grasses give energy to rock squirrels, which give energy to roadrunners. So when we look at that, rock squirrels do eat grasses, so that part is right, but roadrunners do not eat rock squirrels. So G is incorrect. H, cacti give energy to the ornate box turtles, which give energy to the turkey vultures. So ornate box turtles do eat cacti. And then it says turkey vultures eat decomposing animals. So I want you to think about that for just a second. And then J, mesquite beans give energy to turkey vultures. So again, turkey vultures eat decomposing animals. So I want us to think about those two. Okay, so the answer is H. So according to that table, ornate box turtles do eat cacti and turkey vultures eat decomposing animals. So when box turtles die, they are decomposing animals. Whereas in J, the mesquite beans giving energy to turkey vultures, mesquite beans are a plant and turkey vultures do not eat decomposing plants, they eat decomposing animals. So this one here, a way we can analyze this food web, says which organisms transfer the most energy within the food web. So when we talk about which organisms transfer the most energy, we have to think about how many organisms an organism gives energy to, both directly and indirectly. So this time I'm not going to read the answer choices because I'm hoping that you remember when we talked about this in class. So since algae are producers, they are at the bottom of the food web. So they give energy directly to the snails and the protozoa, but they also are giving it indirectly to every other organism in the food web. So they are transferring the most energy. When we think about that oppositely, which organisms receive the most energy within the food web, we're talking about how many organisms an organism gets its energy from, both directly and indirectly. So again, there's no answer choices because I think you should remember. So since catfish are apex predators in their ecosystem, they are at the top of the food web. So they get energy directly from amphipods and crayfish, but also indirectly from every other organism in the food web. So they are receiving energy from all of those organisms, so they are receiving the most energy in the food web. I hope this video helped you remember all the different ways that we can look at food webs and all the different ways that you might be asked questions about food webs. If you watch this video, please go ahead and leave a comment under the Google Classroom post with the video answering the following question. What is your favorite Disney or Pixar movie? So my favorite Disney movie is The Great Mouse Detective. Kind of like Sherlock, but with a mouse, and it's a Disney movie. I really liked it when I was younger, and I still enjoy watching it today. So go ahead and leave a comment letting me know what your favorite Disney or Pixar movie is.